Hello everyone. I'm Blake Johnson. I'm doing the sound design and music for Warcube, if you didn't know that already. So this video is just going to be a little bit of a walkthrough through one of the aspects of the sound and integration I'm doing on Warcube right now. So today I'm just going to focus on a big aspect of the game, and that is Slomo. If you haven't played the game much or watched any videos, as you'll see in a second, the game is in Slomo a lot because it's a huge part of the combat, and obviously Slomo has to sound different than the rest. So with that said, actually, this is my first game completely on my own with Wwise, so if I'm doing anything really wrong or you have a good suggestion on how to do something differently, please, tell me and let me know what you would do differently, or if I'm just doing something totally wrong. So I'd appreciate that. First, I'll just play a little bit, in our little test level here. Show you what combat sounds like right now, and then I'll go into Wwise a little bit and show you how things are set up there. Probably won't show anything in Unity because, it's pretty simple, honestly, but it's just where things are hooked up, really. So, let's fight. There we go. We got our special ready here. And let's get some. Oop. Looks like I got some allies here. Let's put in some archers. And just for kicks, let's switch up to some different weapons here. Good old stick. Alright, let's have this. Alright, so there we have basic combat in Warcube. So let's jump over to Wwise, sorry, and look at how things are set up. So basically we have a Slomo start event, Slomo end event, Slomo ranged start, and a Slomo start first hit, but we're not using this one right now. Hopefully later it will be in there. So Slomo start is activated whenever whenever the player hits a unit and presses the left mouse button to kind of line up their next shot. That's when the Slomo is active. That's when your combo essentially is activated, and that's when all this happens right here. This whole list of actions. And then you can also get into a similar Slomo state by aiming your ranged weapon, so your bow and arrow, crossbow, dynamite, whatever. So those are similar, but a little less happens on here. And then they both get called off with the Slomo end event. We're thinking later on we'll have a separate event for when you first hit, just to kind of give a little variety, and sometimes we might want things to be a little different for the first time. you hit an enemy. But right now, it's just these 3. So what's happening here in Slomo Start is we have a state group called Slomo State, and usually it's in real time. Over here, our Slomo State, we have real time, and then when you start melee comboing, it goes into the melee comboing state group, and then we have one for ranged combat, that like ranged focus mode, and then one for melee first hit, which we're not using right now, as I stated earlier. So what happens when that state group is enabled is we have some kind of low, let's see, where is it here? On the on ambient. So you can see on the ambient bus, mixer bus, so that's all like the background sounds, like winds and birds. I think like a lot of props and stuff too that are just around the environment. Those all go here, and they all get low passed quite a lot when you're either in like the melee combating or comboing, or in ranged focus. So that takes care of that. And but you know, I didn't want the player or any of the unit, like enemy sounds, to be low pass. Like those need to be clear when you're in slow-mo. But then we get to the reverb, and I have like a RTPC called Slomo Reverb, and that is that essentially just turns on the send for the different things that I want to go to this like spacey, airy reverb for the slow-mo. So that's like the player's combat actions in the unit, like when they get hit and they yell and stuff. It adds that reverb on, let's see, where are they? So if I click on the player actor mixer, you can see we have the RTPC right here. So it's just a simple linear curve. So when you're in real time, it's like this, and then when you start comboing, it jumps up to, well, I think to 80, and you get all that reverb. It's sending to that reverb bus, so you get that kind of classic slowed down time reverb. So that's happening on a few things, like the player bus and the units bus, all their sounds. And then we have this slow-mo ambient pitch RTPC. So this one right now is just driving one very sound designy sound. So it is this it's called the like dark pad undertone. So this kind of just loops around while you're in slow-mo. So if I just play it now, it sounds awful. Oh wait, no. Where is it? Now it sounds kind of cool. But if I bring up, which one is it? This thing. It just sounds weird. So what is happening is it's in like a half second. What is it? It drops from drops down to 10, and I think the default is at like 50. So it drops down to 10 very quickly. So yeah, it starts up here, and in half a second it drops down to 10, and then over 5 seconds it just slowly gets like a little pitched a little lower and lower, and the high pass, well, it's pretty much off the, I don't even know if it's really using the high pass at all. But if I just play it here, you can hear it's pretty fast, but then it like really winds down there. And the first time I tried out using like an LFO in here, which is kind of cool. So this LFO controls just obviously the volume right here, and it gives you kind of a fun like fluttery effect that just, you know, like the other thing, slows down a bunch over time. So, and I don't really know if I can. Yeah, it's kind of hard to demo in here. Anyway, so there's that effect. So that is this one here. That's a looping sound. So that fades in and just loops while you're lingering around in slow-mo mode. And then reset voice volume. Let's see. I think that's just, oh yeah, that's just turning it on. Is the volume set to, I always forget these things. So maybe it's bringing it down. I hope I set this up for a reason. It's not just sitting here oddly. This is on Slomo. I might have to look into that again. Anyways, then we have a few other sound design-y effects for slow-mo that play here. I'll just play them by themselves. Essentially, I have one of these two groups that play here. So these are what I call like the ghostly ones. They sound very ghostly, and then these are more like reversey, low kind of things. So one of those will play just to keep it varied, because obviously you're going into this, in and out of this a lot. And then there's kind of a synth drop effect too that plays, and there's just a few, actually quite a few of these I think, no, just 3. Pretty standard synth sounds. All right, so I feel like I'm missing one other thing. Oh yeah, and a very, very big action that is happening in here is the where is it? The reverb, the slow-mo reverb. So it resets the bus volume here, because if you had previously been in slow-mo and it went to slow-mo end, it would like turn it off, like pull it down. So this is just to kind of reset that whole thing. All right, so then let's look at the, let's jump over quick to the ranged version. I just kind of want to point out that it's pretty much the same, except there are not the sound design, like warbly, like random effects. Just the slow-mo dark undertone thing. That thing. So, but if I play this one, you'll hear the other effects. So each time I play is a little different. Minus the whoa, 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 kind of dubstep sounding slow-mo effect. Yeah, so that's for ranged, all like bows and stuff like that. But then ending it, we slowly bring down the bus volume for the reverb, and this was one thing I had to kind of work through, is I couldn't just like shut off, like pull down the volume on the reverb bus when you're out of slow-mo, because then it sounded really abrupt, of like you hear this like airiness and then it just cuts out really hard. So what happens here is because the Slomo like reverb RTPC, that cuts out really fast here, in 100 milliseconds. So that's just cutting off sending the sound to the bus. So it like, but it's not cutting the currently playing reverb off. So I found it sounded a lot better if you kind of let the Slomo reverb still trail out, even once you get into real time. So, but I still kind of help it fade out a little faster right here by dropping the volume over like 1 1/4 second. Obviously, we switched the Slomo state back to real time, and then stop any of those Slomo in sounds, kind of sound design sounds, and just yeah, reset things for the next time. Resetting the Slomo ambient pitch really quickly kind of gives a slight zip back up, which sounds like it's subtle. I found if I had too much of a ramp back up, kind of like pitch up sound, it was too much. So this is pretty subtle. And then obviously we stop that warbly looping sound. So, oh, and one other thing I really love about Slomo is we have obviously a lot of projectiles in this game, and I have it so the arrows and such, wait, no, I gotta go in one more. They're like movement sounds that are attached to the actual projectile. Those get pitched down drastically in slow-mo mode. I might even turn them up a little bit. They're pretty fun to hear. Not that that's gonna do much, but so I think when I'm gonna jump in here and really point it out by soloing it for you guys, so you can hear the arrows go by and whatnot. Sorry if my frame rate's bad. Try my best. Okay. Let's spawn in some archers. Ah. See if I can get him to. Okay, so you can kind of hear it there. Here's our wonderful piano music. Let's solo our. Oh yeah, I could hear it go by that time. Come on. Come on. Woo! So I've been pretty happy with that sound. It's pretty fun, especially if you get a bunch going on. Woo. And there's some nice Doppler going on there too. I'd also like to point out, as you can really obviously hear, but the voice of the units is also pitched dramatically down like 1,000 cents. So that's, you get that like corny classic like raw sound, which you hear quite a bit of in the. Oh, I should unmute. Where are you? Oh, that's not what I want. Oh, we are unmuted. Okay. Oop. Okay. stick, which is just... Anyways, let's bring out the axe and... Oh, how did he get up there? Okay. Ah! Alright, the frame rate is just dying right now, and I think it's time to call this a wrap. So, yeah, thanks for watching this. I hope it wasn't too long. I don't even know how long I've been going now. But, yeah, once again, please feel free to share any ideas, or if there's something I did totally wrong, please feel free to let me know. Thanks.